Every year the problem of clean drinking water becomes more acute. Therefore, the search for alternative sources and methods of obtaining it is underway all over the world. For example, endless precipitation or multi-meter arrays of ice. It remains only to find out which water is cleaner, and for this, it is necessary to clarify the processes of its formation. How is rainwater formed? A significant part of the surface of our planet is occupied by water, 71.9%. This includes not only surface waters, oceans, but also glaciers. Solar heat affects these objects. Water evaporates and goes into the atmosphere. Cold air comes into contact with warm air. This is how rain clouds are obtained. They consist of cool drops and ice crystals. When all this mass accumulates, the crystals begin to connect with each other and the cloud gradually descends, where the ice flows melt and turn into rain. It sinks to the ground, then flows into various reservoirs, the world ocean and groundwater. The water in the rain cloud is clean, as it is obtained as a result of evaporation. It has a low mineral content. However, it is also a good solvent capable of absorbing many substances, including harmful ones. Therefore, water, making its way from the cloud to the surface of the earth, absorbs various substances. But here everything depends on the region where precipitation falls, the level of its ecology. For example, in large cities, rainwater is heavily polluted and unsafe. How is glacial water formed? Icebergs and glaciers, especially high-altitude ones, were formed many years ago. The growth of glaciers is carried out due to atmospheric moisture that falls on them, but it falls out in the form of crystals, snow. The structure of these crystals is constructed in such a way that practically no molecules of another substance are attached to them. Snow accumulates and is subsequently transformed into the so-called firn. This is a long-term, packed and partially crystallized mass, which is something between snow and ice. Then, over time, the firn is transformed into ice, which forms a glacier. Glaciers naturally are extremely reluctant to give away water. Excess liquid flows down in the form of mountain streams. Glacial water is obtained in two ways. It is collected from streams or it causes artificial melting of the glacier. Due to internal stress and movement, large glaciers are covered with cracks of various shapes. As a result, large icebergs break off from the monolithic block. How long they will float freely in the ocean depends on their size. For the first time, the idea of using glaciers as a source of fresh water was voiced in the 50s. The search for icebergs is carried out using a satellite. Then the glacier is fixed and delivered to the catchment point. The process of its melting takes several months. However, mass towing of icebergs is considered unprofitable from an economic point of view. Mineral glacial water is extracted using wells developed at the foot of high-altitude glaciers. Such water is formed in the depths of glacial caps and is saturated with natural minerals when it passes through rocks. Which water is cleaner? Since rainwater collects particles of harmful and dangerous substances when it makes its way from the cloud to the surface of the earth, doubts arise about its purity. 1 liter of water can absorb the contents of 3m3 of air together with dust, lead compounds, mercury, nitrogen oxide, sulfur, carbon monoxide, etc. Although precipitation is considered the most polluted in the first few minutes, if it rains for a long time, you can use such water. Glaciers are also fed by moisture from the atmosphere, which falls in the form of snow. But it is much more difficult for an extraneous molecule to squeeze into a snowflake crystal. It is almost impossible. Also, glaciers are most often located at a considerable distance from polluted areas. Therefore, glacial water is much cleaner than rainwater.